Hello again. It's great to have you with us. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. Last Monday evening, I spoke to you about non-negotiables and having things that are non-negotiable in our life that are the truth of God. And we talked about Daniel and his friends that had been taken captive and taken to Babylon. And the king of Babylon, in getting people to conform to their culture, would do things like change their name, do specific training. And we talked last Monday about not allowing seasons of change to change your name, to change the name of who you are in Christ. Don't allow fear or labels to change your name. And so I wanted to continue that thought just for a few minutes this evening. And I wanted another thing that they would do is that they would take away the food that they would normally eat and give them the diet from the king's table. And Daniel approached the person in charge over them and said, "Can we still eat what we normally eat? And if after 10 days we are not healthy and strong, then we will eat from the king's table." So they agreed to this, and after 10 days, Daniel and his friends were even stronger and healthier than those that had been eating the food that the king had wanted them to eat. So Daniel determined his diet and trusted God with the outcome. That was a non-negotiable in his life. We get to determine our diet. You get to determine your diet. And of course, I'm not talking about actual food. I'm talking about what we feed our minds with, what we put in our heart, those things that we feed on. When we feed on negativity, when we feed on fear, when we feed on criticism, or we feed ourselves endlessly with continuous news reports, then fear and anxiety, that's what will come out of our lives. In John 6, 33 and 35, Jesus said this. He said, "The bread of God is the one who comes out of heaven to give his life to feed the world." And then Jesus said to them, "I am the bread of life. Come every day to me and you will never be hungry. Believe in me and you'll never be thirsty." Jesus was talking about relationship with him. He's talking about friendship with him. He's talking about that he will give you a good diet, that you can feed your heart on, that you can feed your mind on, feeding on the truth of his word. And that will keep you in health and help you guard against the things in the culture that would want to conform and shape you into someone that you weren't created to be. Because God says that you are his workmanship, you are his masterpiece, you are his beloved, and he doesn't want you to be conformed into something you weren't created to be. Psalm 23:5, God says this, he says, "I've prepared a table before you in the presence of your enemies." In the presence of fear, in the presence of negativity, in the presence of anxiety, in the presence of criticism, God has a table for you that you can take of, that you can feed your heart and feed your mind and determine what will be your diet. God prepares a place where you can eat, and he gives you the diet. You get to determine your diet. Don't eat from the table of fear. Don't eat from the table of anxiety. Don't eat from the table of criticism, because God has a table prepared for you. You can tell fear and negativity and complacency that you're not going to eat from their table, that the non-negotiable in your life is that you will determine to eat of the diet that God has prepared for you. I pray that you have a great week. I pray that within you, as you think on these things, you will determine the non-negotiables in your life so that you become transformed from the outside and not conformed into a shape that you weren't created to be. Bless you.